What's up everybody, Sam Smyers here. Today I want to talk about tuning your kick, whether you should be doing it or whether you should not be doing it, and if you are tuning your kick, what you might be doing wrong. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. First off, I want to go over this video that is on Soul State's channel, which is basically called Deadmau5 Rants About Kicks. I watched this video and I had some things to say about it, and so I basically want to go over things that I disagree with and things that I agree with. And if you check out Soul State's channel, it's a really awesome channel. I actually have a few videos on there where I break down my song Focus. Soul State basically takes advice from other music producers that he found on their streams or other interviews and puts them into these really cool videos. So definitely check that out. So basically in that video, Deadmau5 says that you don't need to tune your kick. And he sees a lot of EDM producers say that tuning your kick is this pro EDM tip that you need to do.
Oh, EDM pro tip. Tune your kick. Dude, shut up.
And I do agree with that it's not really necessary to actually tune your kick. Now, when we think about tuning our kick, I usually think about, okay, I'm going to put my kick in the same key as my song because your kick has a pitch to it. And if you find the pitch of your kick, then you can actually change that, transpose it up or down and put it in the key of your song. So this is definitely something that I agree with that you don't really need to do. You don't really need to take your kick and then find the actual pitch of it and put it in key with your song. What you should really be doing is focusing on your bass and making sure that your bass is in the same key as your song, which is kind of obvious. Basically, Deadmau5 also says that your kick is just more of a transient and you should really just be shaping your kick to fit your song. And that's definitely something that I agree with as well. Let me just show you something. If I open up a session here, I have this kick sample and I have it with this bass. So let me just play the kick here. And then I'll just play this bass here. Just like a subby bass. So if I just take this kick sample and I put it in here, I can actually shape up my kick a bit better so that it fits with my track. So I might just cut off that and then maybe add a fade. You could do it even shorter. Like I could make it even this short. So maybe if I want the kick to be that short, then I can just copy and paste this across. Like that. And that makes that kick a lot tighter and that will help that bass cut through the mix. So I could just duplicate this over, consolidate the whole thing. And now I have a new shorter kick. And maybe that's could be too short. So maybe I don't want it to be that short. Maybe I want it to be, let's say, this short. And then I can copy that over and do that. So that's basically just shaping your kick. And that's kind of what Deadmau5 is saying, is to take your kick sample that you find, put it into your session, and then shape it and make sure that it's a pretty tight sounding kick so that your bass can cut through the mix. So here's another kick sample down here. Let's listen to this one. This one sounds a bit different. So I could do the same thing. I could shape this one a bit more, add a little fade to it, and then copy and paste it throughout the track here. Like that. And so that's just another example of me shaping up that kick. So where I do differ in Deadmau5's analysis of your kick mainly being a transient is that every sound does have a pitch because every sound is made up of a group of frequencies and then that's going to determine what pitch it is. If you think about Charlie Puth has perfect pitch. There's this interview where he's with Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Kimmel takes a pen and then he taps it on his mug and then Charlie Puth is like, oh, it's a C and a C sharp. So he can determine the pitch of basically any sound. So your kick is going to have a pitch to it. It's not just a transient, it is going to have a pitch. So it's going to be made up of a group of frequencies. So let's just go ahead and look at this kick that I was messing around with. And if I open up a span here and I just play this kick here, and I hold this, I can see where the bulk of these frequencies are grouped around. So we see that, I don't know, let's just say like around 50 hertz to, let's say 65 hertz. We've got kind of like a peak there. So your kick does have a pitch to it. So if I play this other kick and go ahead and hit hold, then I can see that it's got a different frequency range to it than that first kick. So basically when I think about tuning a kick, I don't think about putting the kick in the same key as my song. I think about it more, where do I want that kick to sit in my mix? So I think this is more of a mixing tool, tuning your kick, because I can actually take my kick here. Let's just go ahead and look at this first one. And I'm going to consolidate this whole thing. And now I'm gonna just play the kick here. And if I start to warp my kick and I transpose it, let's go ahead and put this on beats. Let's just go ahead and watch the spectrum analyzer as I pitch this kick up and down. So obviously it's going to change where that kick hits in this frequency spectrum. Depending on where your original kick sample sits in the mix, you could actually pitch it up so that it sits higher in the mix, or you could pitch it down so that it sits lower in the mix. And this is going to depend on the key of your song or just the bass notes that you're using. So if I look at my bass here and I play that bass along with this kick, maybe I feel like transposing this down 5 semitones has that kick sit a bit lower than that bass and creates some separation. So when you think about mixing, and when you are mixing, you're trying to create clarity in your mix so that you can hear all of the elements of your mix. And when I think about tuning your kick, that is just another tool in our mixing toolbox for us to create clarity in the mix. So it's not necessarily about fitting that kick to be in the same key as your song. I really just did this right now, just listening to it, and I wasn't even thinking about what is the actual pitch of this kick. So I could even transpose it up. So in that example, we can obviously hear that that sub bass is going to hit lower than the kick in the mix. And so this is just going to be another tool, and I have another kick here that I just played you earlier. So let me go ahead and consolidate that. And so with this kick, obviously this sits a bit higher in the mix. Doesn't have as much low end as that first kick. So what I could do is I could take this kick, if this was a kick sample that I used, and I could transpose it down. So maybe I felt like turning it down -7 semitones made it sound better. Or maybe I could pitch it up more. So all this is just a mindset shift. If you are tuning your kick, and it's definitely not necessary, I don't always tune my kick, but if you do decide that you want to play around with tuning your kick or pitching it up or down, then don't necessarily think about, is this going to be in the right key as my song? But more so, did you shorten up your kick so that it fits nicely in your song and in the tempo of your song? And did you shape it so that it fits nicely with the bass? And then after that, then you can play around with adjusting it up or down to see if it creates some separation between that kick and other bass elements of your track or just any other elements in your track. So I hope that that was helpful. And if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also please consider subscribing to my channel. If you do want to check out any of my Serum preset packs, I'll put links down below for those. And then also, if you do want to check out my Modern Mix Academy, this is going to be a full online mixing course that I created that will help you make some of the best mixes of your life from the comfort of your own home. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.